Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot, and welcome to today's reading. We're going to take a look at what's coming in for your person and what sort of things are likely to change. We've had an awful lot of third-party energy showing up lately, and let's just get a feel for kind of what is happening for your person now. So it'll be a general reading for the overall collective. So it's not going to resonate with everybody, shouldn't resonate with everybody. But of course, if it resonates with you, maybe take a look at some of the other videos, possibly look to see if maybe some of the other messages are associated with you, and you may want to subscribe if it turns out that you're part of this collective, because we've got the messages coming fast and furious, and they're all very much attached or connected to one another. So jumping into this one, we're going to look at that general energy for today. And it's just that energetic and emotional backdrop. So you're swimming in this energy. This is kind of what's going on. It may not be coming from you. Ten of Scrolls. Okay, so there's memories of pain. This is like waking up from a dream that isn't particularly pleasant in the morning and going, you go about your day as usual, but it's got that feeling of there's a little bit of something holding you down. There's a little bit of something that's kind of dragging you down emotionally. This is a shared energy between you and your person. So it's just one of those days. I mean, you could say this is the sort of day that makes you realize why the really great days are really great. But this doesn't seem like an especially bad day yet. I mean, I guess let's take a look. But it's that kind of energy that just sort of drags you down. So there were two of them in there that I saw that needed to come out, and that was it. We've got the Wheel of Fortune and the Sun in reverse. So it feels like with the Sun in reverse here that we've got a little bit of a missed opportunity, something that felt like it was going to make you happy, didn't come to pass. You were unable to complete a transaction, or something didn't happen. It wasn't so much of something bad that did happen. And that's kind of one of the things I was feeling with this Ten of Scrolls up here. This is air energy. It's like the Ten of Swords. And here with the Sun and the Wheel of Fortune, with the Sun being in reverse, we see a necessary change happening, but not necessarily a particularly comfortable or pleasant one. It's kind of dragging you both through some unpleasant memories, that sort of energy. It's not necessarily anything that's bad that's happening now. It's more feels historic, almost that Six of Cups kind of feel to it, where it has a nostalgia feel to it, but it's like you woke up just bathed in this energy. I don't know that this is coming from anybody. I think that this is just the way that it is. So we want the World, and what's the top one here? We'll start with that. The other cards we didn't want, I never know how many I'm actually going to want. So we've got the World and we've got the Ace of Cups. With the World in reverse, we can see that something is not yet complete. Something still needs to be completed. But with the Ace of Cups, we see that it's kind of like a lack of an ability to let energy flow. It's not so much that the energy isn't there or the emotion isn't there, but it's not able to flow. And it has to do with this thing that has not yet ended, or there's something that's hanging on you. There's something that like you haven't yet forgiven, or something that you're waiting to come to pass. It's creating some stress, but there's that sense of just that missed opportunity in there. Like, I wish I had done something ever so slightly different. It doesn't, I don't get the sense that doing anything very differently would have been especially helpful. I don't get the sense that you've done anything where you've gone off course. Sometimes doing things wrong, or, doing things inappropriately, what you later determine is inappropriately, is an opportunity for forgiveness, and it's not necessarily going off course. I get the sense that you're on the right course. I just think that this is an uncomfortable experience. There's change in the air, and there's unfinished business, and there's that bite of a painful ending. It doesn't necessarily have to be like the painful ending between you and your soulmate. It could be something that's farther back in the distance. Really does have that way back when sort of feel to it, but it's it's just like waking up with that sense of existential dread. We've talked about that one before. That happens for some people on some days. This is one of those days. We've got the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. It's a slow start to the energy of the day. Even if your day takes off and running like normal, you get up, you get ready, you go do what you have to do. Even if it's got that, it still has the energy of a slow start. Like you weren't necessarily all firing on all cylinders at the beginning of it. Same with your person. This energy continues to feel really shared. So sometimes, I had a reading not too long ago where the energy I was describing is like being 90-10 your person. This is closer to more even. I wouldn't say it's exactly 50-50 heavy on you if it's heavy in a direction, but it's pretty shared. I would say your person is feeling this as well. And neither of you is doing this to each other. This feels like the energy of what's out there. And you guys, if you've been watching the readings, they've been a little hold on because things are frustrating. Things have been, when you have that balance of the good and bad, it feels like there's been a lot of challenge here lately. I mean, yesterday's reading in particular was just, oh man, hang on, and you were being asked to like go into the sadness or the fear, go into it and start figuring out. You've got an opportunity for some problem solution there, but the issue there is it's really uncomfortable to do. We've got this Emperor energy that's kind of balancing out for both of you, though. So this is promising because it has it's masculine energy. The Emperor is the divine masculine in the energy, and there is a sort of, it's almost like disciplined and confident sort of feeling that's happening with this. It's helping to temper that feeling of a missed opportunity. And remember that everyone has masculine and feminine energy. This is balanced masculine energy that's coming out. Here we have the Two of Pentacles to speak of balance. This is something where there's a lot to be juggled. The slow start to the day, even though things might have been going really quickly, there was maybe a lot to think about or a lot even to do, possibly. It doesn't have the sense of an easygoing energy today, but it seems like you're handling it just fine. We've got the Queen of Wands. There's the power to move forward, the energy to be able to move forward. And the Seven of Pentacles, you have some pretty well-worn habits, and these are going to be helpful for you today. So, sometimes having a habit or two in place, it's like when you get up and you brush your teeth. It's just what you automatically do. And it's a good thing to have it there because there are some days where you might wake up and be like, not really doing anything, but you just by habit brush your teeth. It's not something that you have to worry about. That's the Seven of Pentacles kind of energy that we have here. And that Queen of Wands is the ability to go ahead and go through with everything that has to be done. It's not necessarily with bells on. It's not necessarily happy and exciting, but things are changing. There is the movement. This is not a stagnation sort of energy. It's just kind of a challenging energy, and not to be ignored is this Ace of Cups in the middle there in the reverse that feels like it's hard to move forward with certain types of energy. Feels like it's hard to get your emotion out there, maybe. Might be hard to find words today. I'm worried that that's going to start to befall me because that feels like it's on the edge all of a sudden of my consciousness as I dip into the energy of the day. But again, it's something that may just be impacting all of us. This is something that feels like more of a cosmic energy that's kind of coming in that you and your person would be impacted by this, but not necessarily the source of it. Okay, so let's look to see. We're focusing a little bit more on your person in this question, and we really just kind of want to understand what is coming their direction. There's been so much with the third party going on. There's been a lot with just discomfort, things changing on their end, where their perspective around the third party energy or multiple, Six of Scrolls, multiple third party energies has gone kind of cold a little bit. It's just not as robust as it maybe once was. They feel like they're done with something. Yeah, Seven of Spirals. They're a little bit powerless. That's another thing that came out. So they feel like they're done with something, but it's not really done with them, and they can't just walk away, make it go away. That's the feeling of the Seven of Spirals. It's that third party energy coming out again. But remember, before we get too upset about the third party energy, just realize that this is there to help teach them a lesson. It's there to help aid them along their way. It's not something that it's really not something that they can't go forward and have a fruitful relationship with you without learning a few of these lessons that are going to be included in this third party situation. But when we say the third party situation is not done with them, that's part of what it is. And yet with this Six of Scrolls, they've got a little bit more of an ability to have perspective. It's almost like even if things are crazy today, with the energy being the way that it is, there's something that just allows them to sort of organize it and make a little bit more out of it than they would on a day where they feel more anxious and stressful. And not saying they don't have stress or anxiety or fear today, just that that's not driving them as much as the realization that they can kind of see. It's like some fog has cleared. They can see for miles, you know. And with the Seven of Spirals, though, there's that feeling that in that, and it's not necessarily an emotional, we'll have to see if the emotions come out here or maybe dig into that in the extended, but it doesn't feel like they are super emotional about the fact that they're powerless. It feels like they're aware of it. Let's keep going. Let's see what else wants to come out. We've got this Ten of Swords. Here's that same Ten of Scrolls energy. It's reminiscent of an energy. Something has gone wrong. Something has gone poorly early on. It's way back when sort of energy once again, but something's gone dreadfully wrong and they've never quite recovered from it. This is the thing that's popping up on them on these days where they wake up with that sense of existential dread, which is kind of in that overall energy today with the slow start. We've got the Ace of Swords also that's come up, though. Ace of Swords in the reverse. There's a truth that is, we've referred to it in some of the readings as an inconvenient truth, but what it really is, it's a truth that's sitting in front of you that you're not able to quite utilize at this time. So it isn't so much that you're running from it. You may be running from it, but that's not necessarily what's going on here. Or they may be running from it, but it's not necessarily what's happening. This is mirrored energy. So when I say you, I mean, we're looking into what's happening with them and what's coming their direction, but this is so relevant to your bond. Both of you have a truth like this that's kind of in your main view, but you've built up some pretty amazing mirrors to be able to work around it and not even see that it's there. They are kind of being confronted with that on a day like today in this energy, and it's bringing a change about. So we know that there's a change coming because of what we saw in the energy over here with the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune talks about the universe bringing forth a change. So we know that's coming, but I think they're playing a role in it. It's not just happening to them. And figuring out this truth, getting this Ace of Swords to come more upright is going to give them a lot more of the ability to manifest alongside the universe in this one. So manifestation is not about making things happen it just by yourself. It's not done in a vacuum. It's in harmony with the universe. It has to be together. Otherwise, it has a tendency to be very thin and fall apart. Maybe things that are happening for the wrong reasons, battles that are kind of being forced instead of legitimately conquered. You know, it may not be the right course of action, and ultimately it changes. So they are being held back by choices. This is not a single decision they have to make. This is multiple decisions that they have to make. It's not easy for them. Something's going to change significantly within their situation depending on what the answers are. Again, with the Ace of Swords in reverse here, but we've also got, and that Ace of Swords in reverse, again, I was talking about the truth. It's kind of an inconvenient truth. I would still describe it that way. We've got the King of Cups here in reverse. That is, it's a little bit of their mask comes down a little bit. That's part of what's heading their direction. Their ability to control their emotions so that other people are seeing what they want them to see. They're going to lose that ability a little bit. The mask is going to slip. That's what that King of Cups is. It's like charisma in the reverse, or charisma, the opposite of charisma. It's like the opposite of having controlled emotions. There's something there where their emotions are going to show in an uncomfortable way. Even if a lot of people don't catch it, they're going to be very uncomfortable with their ability to maintain the the I guess the narrative. It's not just the way they look. It's the whole picture. It's the whole thing. This is an egoistic feeling. This comes out with the King of Cups in reverse, or well, King of Cups sometimes. We have the Tower in reverse. The Tower is a big change that they are resisting because it's in reverse. That's where I'm feeling the resistance. It's got that Nine of Wands kind of resistance to it too. It's I'm resisting things almost out of habit just because that's the way I handle stuff. You know, that's the kind of resistance that we're seeing. But there's a balance that we saw kind of in this energy here. It's almost like balance is stalking them, but they're eluding it fairly well. Peace of mind along with that. They're doing things that are kind of the self-destructive behavior, and it's creating a challenge for them as far as their balance is concerned. We saw that Death card peeking out there. We know there is change, but what's speaking even more loudly is that Tower in reverse, where there's a circumstance that needs to adjust for them, that they're fighting against it. They're fighting against a realignment of their own values. And yet it's going to be something that they ultimately, when they figure it out with this Ten of Wands in reverse, it's going to be a very good thing. It's going to be super useful when they finally figure out what needs to change in their values. That continues to be something that's very difficult for them to understand. Like, what in their values needs to change. They haven't quite got a clarity around that yet. And their manifestation is off as a result. So they're not feeling like they can co-manifest with the universe, because they're not actually co-manifesting with the universe. They're doing like a Five of Swords thing where they're trying to win at any cost. They're using their ability to control things and push things. But that's precisely what's going to start to fall apart, like we see with this King of Cups. So they're going to have a little bit of the weakening of the story, the narrative that they put out there, and the mask coming down. That's as they start to recognize some truths. This Tower is going to start to fall. This one that they don't especially want to fall. They don't want the mask to slip, but that's what's going to happen here. It's not a comfortable time coming for them. I think they know this, and I think that's a little bit of what is what's happening with that feeling of that existential, the bad dreams. There have been some kind of negative dreams that have been happening, and they wake up from these directly today, yesterday, and just kind of feeling powerless and not necessarily a huge spike of emotion. We'll look into that a little bit more when we get into the extended. I'm curious to understand, because their emotion has been there. They've been feeling a little bit more vulnerable, but here it's like they wake up and it's just a bad day. But it's a couple of bad days in a row, and I'm wondering if it's pattern. We have the resistance of that. It's like the Tower in reverse, only this is resistance of the overall change. It's less that and more that exhaustion that we were reading about just the other day. So feeling like there's less that they can do. You know, it's just this lack of energy to be able to go forward. So the exhaustion that we were talking about yesterday has not completely left. I think there are a few of you that are just doing fine and flying above regardless of all this. But it's in the energy. Like, you're having to actively skirt this energy in order to have a decent day, it feels like. But for them, it's a little more clear and present. It feels like there's a resistance. There's a serious resistance. We've got the Five of Cups in reverse. They've had some, well, so they've done some healing, but it hasn't necessarily been it's not comfortable. Sometimes when you're moving into balance, it's not an especially comfortable thing. So getting used to that new balance, used to the new way things are, is not always a comfortable thing to do. And so they're moving more into balance, which we see the temperance, like I said, it was like stalking them. Sounds like a good thing, right? But it's really uncomfortable as they're going through it. And with this Five of Cups, it's like they are being drawn toward their happiness. They're being drawn through their healing toward their happiness. But healing doesn't happen all at once. It is, as I will sometimes say, a jagged experience where you experience some of the healing, but there are pieces that are left unformed. And so it's hard to use those lessons that you're learning sometimes until you get a little bit more of it. So let's take a look into you. We're definitely, when we go into the extended, we're definitely going to take a look more into what's happening with your person. We see that their facade is going to fall a little bit. Their mask is going to fall. They're being asked to answer for some earlier pains, and it's like they know it, and they almost have this kernel of callus around them. Like they almost, I was seeing here that they weren't that concerned about it. I don't know how much they're able to. They have that vulnerability, like we've been talking about, where there's an openness in some cases, but not a lot of comfort. This is very much in keeping with the lack of comfort. It's that type of, they're still protecting themselves. They're still tensed up. Let's see what you can be focused on in light of everything that's out here on this table. We always like to do a focus on you in every reading because this collective is made of people that is definitely, working through something challenging, but the main point is being able to heal, being able to get to a better place. So we've got the poet. This is the King of Scrolls. It's that King of Swords energy, and it's got what you can be focused on is really just kind of keeping both feet on the ground and thinking through your actions, just double checking them. Don't make your decisions entirely based on logic because that tends to be an imbalanced way to go. But if you incorporate some of that logic in there, just kind of use it as a double check, a gut check to make sure that you're not, well, the gut check is the emotional piece, but also make sure that it adds up. So there's an opportunity for that, making sure that it continues to add up, especially with this changing energy. When you look at it and say, when I do my meditation, I realize that my gratitudes are still pretty robust and that I don't actually think this is bad. I think I might be having a bad day. It's that kind of perspective, but it's that kind of thinking that leads you to it. We have the Queen of Cups in reverse. Watch for some old codependent habits to pop back up for you. Look for it, and then actively move into it. It's uncomfortable. This is like yesterday's energy, which is kind of still here. If you've got something, we've got the Nine of Cups in reverse. So this is going to help you figure out what sort of adjustments you need to make that are going to help to bring you to a place of more of an emotional self-mastery. There are some things that are going to need to be changed in your life. The Queen of Swords would suggest that you're cutting some things out. The Eight of Pentacles would suggest that this is dead weight, though. It's not like you're cutting off live portion of a plant. You're cutting off the part that has already died and the plant is no longer providing energy to it or providing resources to it. Time to go ahead and let that sort of thing go. However, take notes, because there's going to be an element of moving toward your happiness and being able to quell some of those more codependent things when you see them come up, when you're in a more stable mental place as well as an emotional place. It helps you to say, oh, there's a piece I want to go ahead and prune, without feeling quite so bad about it. There's a right time to prune behaviors and a wrong time. And the wrong time is when it's too soon and it ends up growing back because it wasn't dead. It was still green plant that got cut off. It just grows right back. You have to make it the time when the right time is for your soul to prune the dead weight behavior or the I'm trying to find the right words, but you guys, I feel like you get it. I say that there's an awful lot of you that have to, I hope that that comes through. It's really just slow down and use your ability to think things through as well as feel things through. You have to be able to feel things through to feel that codependency trying to come out. This is part of the I guess the weight that you have to go through. So this is the star card. You're moving down a road that, as I was saying before, is still the right direction. It's just not necessarily a comfortable direction, and there's a bit of a delay in you getting to your destiny, but it has everything to do with the work that you're doing right now. It has everything to do with the healing the trajectory that you're on. Here we have the Ace of Wands coming out sideways, and I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. For many of you, where I've done individual readings here lately from my Etsy shop, what I've discovered is, and it's been frustrating because a lot of you are saying, all right, when is the good thing going to happen? Where am I going to find the thing that sets my soul on fire? And I am inevitably saying, and I think I've said this to 3 people individually at this point, it's right in front of you. You're not ready to perceive it as the opportunity that it is yet. And I think it probably infuriates people, and I don't blame them, because I think I would be too. But it's an opportunity coming your direction that isn't going to change things for you, and yet it's like you're not quite ready for it. Your growth is going to get you ready for it, so that's a wonderful thing. I also get the sense in some cases that it's not really ready for you yet either. There's some change that still has to happen there. But you have something to keep you busy in the meantime. You've got a new perspective that's coming to you. It feels like it's a little bit hung up right now. We've got the Hanged Man. But it is a new perspective that you're gaining, and you're being able to get that. It's starting to grace you. There is a happiness, something that happens in, it's like a social situation that you don't mean to get yourself into. That's kind of what this feels like. So you've got the 3 of Cups here, which is celebration, it's happiness, but it's also, it's going to start to unplug some of what we see over here with the energy that doesn't want to flow. This is going to start to unplug that. And it's like it takes baby steps to get some of it unplugged, because you might not even realize what's happening. But again, you're going to uncover some of the things that are holding you back, controlling you. This is devil energy, and that's exactly what you want to pull out. So that Queen of Cups, we talked about finding the pieces that need to be pruned. The devil energy is kind of like the flavor of devil energy I expect you to run across is going to be overthinking and some habits that are very much associated with the big 3 that you've been that you've been healing from. So you've been healing from that fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of betrayal, and that's where your healing has been. And yet you're in a place now where with this energy, it makes you feel a little bit raw, and there's some of the codependency that starts to come out when you see it. That's the flavor of devil energy. You want to grab it by the tail and address it. Now, addressing it is not necessarily a one and done type of situation. Sometimes it's something that can take a little bit longer. And in fact, I think a lot of you are already actively doing that because of the bond we see represented by the Lovers here that you have experienced with this person. Honestly, though, as I've said in the past, if it wasn't something as forceful as the energy of this person coming to you to help explain this or to help bring it to your attention, you would probably be sweeping it under the rug like maybe you've done in the past as you've gone through cycles that looked like this, but this person is different. Or things that have happened that with your person, they were actively trying to sweep this under the rug at the time that the 2 of you came together in a meaningful way. There's more work to be done here. So we saw that the World card came in the reverse, but we also see that the Judgment card comes in the reverse. So if you don't pass Judgment, you don't get to, these are numbered consecutively in the deck, and they're the last 2 in the journey. So you've got the Fool's journey, okay? And the Fool is card number 0. Card number 21 is the World. And those are the 22 cards, like that's the scope of the 22 cards. It's the whole journey, which with the World in the upright, hopefully being a happy ending. Judgment is card number 20. Comes right before the world. And if you don't pass judgment, you can't make it to that happy ending. So we already see that there's more to be done here. But this is you coming to terms with, yes, I still have more work to do. And yet, coming to terms with the fact that, like, you came to bring it. So you've got the Nine of Pentacles here and the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Pentacles in the upright, just like we like it. The Nine of Wands in the reverse, also just like we like it. Nine of Wands in the reverse is showing less of a resistance to solving some of your problems. And the Nine of Pentacles is showing that confidence. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop here. We're going to go into the extended, and we're going to look a little bit more deeply into what's coming your person's way, as well as what their emotions are on this, because we see like a block toward their ability to really absorb those emotions. We'll look a little bit more into you as well, but we need to find out what's happening with their emotions to understand how they might interpret some of what's coming their way with the mask slipping. This is going to create weakness for them. So are they going to be weak, or are they going to be strong? We're going to be looking for the strength card to come out one way or the other to kind of give us the answer on that one. And we'll look for that in the extended. So the link is down below. Hopefully I'll see you there. Otherwise, I will see you in the next reading.